Have you noticed it? That strange hour when everything is still, the streetlights humming, the house holding its breath, and suddenly you're awake. You glance at the clock, 3 a.m. again. You lie there staring at the ceiling, wondering what your body is trying to tell you. You're not anxious, not even uncomfortable, just awake. And no matter how many times you close your eyes, the quiet seems to stretch on forever. If that sounds familiar, you're far from alone. Many older adults wake up around this same hour. It can feel mysterious, even frustrating, but it's not random. It's not a failure. It's your body, your mind, and your history whispering to you in the dark. Today we'll explore 5 deeper reasons why this happens and what those early wake-ups might be trying to show you. Each one touches a different part of the aging process: the body's chemistry, the inner clock, the way we live, and the way we remember. By the end, you may not just understand your sleep better, you may understand yourself better too. Every night, the body releases a soft tide of melatonin, the hormone that signals it's time to rest. In your younger years, that wave was strong and steady, carrying you through the night with ease. But with age, that signal grows quieter. The pineal gland and the small structure in the brain that produces melatonin simply becomes less efficient. This isn't failure, it's rhythm. The older body no longer floods itself with the same levels of that sleep hormone, and so the night can feel shorter. You might still fall asleep easily, but after a few hours, as melatonin fades, your brain begins to drift upward, toward lighter sleep, toward awareness. Even the smallest things can tip you the rest of the way. A soft beam of light slipping through the curtain, the hum of the refrigerator, the change in your breathing as you roll over. The older brain interprets those signals as morning. Think of Harold, 72. He had always slept soundly until this past year, when he began waking at exactly 3:10 every morning. No pain, no dream, just eyes open, mind alert. Once he understood the science behind it, he stopped blaming himself. He darkened his room, swapped his bedside clock for one without a glow, dimmed his lights an hour before bed, and took short evening walks at sunset to remind his body that night had begun. Over time, he still woke early sometimes, but the edge of frustration softened. He no longer saw it as his body failing him, just recalibrating. If this sounds like you, keep the bedroom dark and cool. Darkness encourages melatonin production. Avoid bright screens an hour before bed. The blue light tells your brain it's noon. If you wake, don't flood your eyes with light. Let the dark hold you a bit longer. The takeaway is simple but profound. Your body isn't broken. It's adapting to a new rhythm. The goal isn't to force sleep, but to help your body remember it's still night. As we grow older, the body's internal timekeeper, the circadian rhythm, tends to drift forward. Scientists call it advanced sleep phase syndrome. It means you naturally feel sleepy earlier in the evening and wake earlier in the morning. It's biology, not bad habit. This happens because the brain's master clock, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, becomes more sensitive to light cues. Less daylight exposure and earlier indoor lighting quietly train it to shift the whole cycle forward. The body begins treating 9 p.m. as midnight and 3 a.m. as dawn. Meet Lillian, 69. She used to laugh at her parents for calling it a night by 8:30. Now she catches herself yawning at 8:15. She goes to bed by 9 and, of course, wakes around 3. She doesn't feel anxious. She just feels done. At first, she tried to stay in bed longer, tossing and turning. Eventually, she learned to push her whole schedule a little later. She started eating dinner at 7 instead of 5, reading under a brighter lamp and taking a gentle stroll just before bed. Her wake-ups began to move too, first to 4, then to 5. Small shifts, big difference. If this rings true, get at least 20 minutes of bright morning light each day. It helps reset the clock. Avoid long evening naps. Keep your evenings gently stimulating. Conversation, light music, a phone call, a puzzle. This isn't something to fight, it's something to guide. Your body still follows a clock, it just ticks a little earlier now. And with light, movement, and social cues, you can nudge it back toward balance. The third reason is physical, and often overlooked. As we age, we don't just collect years, we collect signals. A joint that once went unnoticed now whispers. A bladder that held steady now speaks up. Nerves grow more sensitive, muscles less forgiving. At 3 in the morning, the body's defenses are quiet. Pain feels louder, temperature changes feel sharper. Digestion, blood sugar, blood pressure all move in subtle waves that can disturb sleep without us realizing it. Common culprits: arthritis or stiff joints from lying in one position too long, nocturia, the urge to urinate more often at night due to age-related bladder changes or medications, reflux or indigestion, especially after early or heavy dinners, temperature sensitivity. As the body ages, it struggles more to regulate heat, and even 1 degree too warm can wake you. Margaret, 76, thought she had insomnia until she tracked her nights. She realized she always woke after rolling onto her sore shoulder. A new pillow, a bit of stretching before bed, and her 3 a.m. awakenings faded. Edward, 81, started waking twice a night for the bathroom. His doctor adjusted the timing of his blood pressure medication and suggested he reduce evening fluids. Within days, he was sleeping in longer stretches again. If you recognize yourself here, keep the room cool and well ventilated. Stretch gently before bed, loosen what stiffens overnight. Time medications with your doctor's help, so side effects don't land in the middle of the night. Use supportive pillows to ease pressure on hips, knees, and shoulders. These aren't signs of frailty, they're signs of communication. Your body still tells the truth. Listen to it. Each adjustment, however small, is an act of care. Sometimes the reason we wake early isn't in our chemistry or our joints, it's in the shape of our days. Retirement, quieter homes, less time outdoors, they all shrink the structure that used to anchor your sleep. You might eat dinner earlier, move less, speak less, see fewer people. Over months and years, those gentle shifts send the same message to your body again and again. The day is shorter now. Your system responds in kind, starting the sleep cycle earlier, ending it earlier. Think of Raymond, 70. When he left work, he thought he'd finally get to rest, but within months, he was falling asleep in his recliner at 8 and waking up before dawn. His doctor found nothing wrong. His body had simply adjusted to the stillness. So he made small changes. He started gardening in the late afternoon to bring movement back into his evenings. He began calling an old friend at 9 just to chat. He noticed that staying lightly engaged later made him sleepier later and wake later too. Food timing matters as well. An early dinner can leave you with a blood sugar dip during the night. Too late a dinner can bring reflux. Alcohol or caffeine, even 6 hours before bed, can fragment sleep. To rebalance your rhythm, add gentle activity after dinner: walking, stretching, tidying, conversation. If dinner is early, have a light bedtime snack: yogurt, banana, a handful of nuts. Limit caffeine to before noon. Reserve the bedroom for rest, not television or scrolling. Your body learns from repetition. Every evening routine is a quiet lesson you teach your brain. Make sure it's a lesson you want it to remember. And now, the most tender reason of all: sometimes we wake at 3 a.m., not because of light or hormones, but because the mind needs a place to breathe. In daylight, life is full of noise, errands, conversations, small tasks. But in the deep night, when the house is silent, the deeper thoughts surface. Memories rise that haven't been visited in years. Grief shows its face. Old joys ask to be remembered. This isn't anxiety, not always. It's reflection. The mind, no longer racing outward, begins to turn inward. Rosa, 82, often wakes around 3:20 a.m. She lies quietly, not afraid, just thoughtful. Sometimes she recalls her childhood street, sometimes the husband she lost, sometimes a small regret, or a question about what still matters most. At first, she tried to fight it. Then she began keeping a small notebook by her bed. When she woke, she wrote a few lines, whatever surfaced. That small ritual became her peace. She didn't need to fall back asleep right away, she only needed to listen. For many, this hour becomes a mirror, a reminder that the mind still has depth to explore. You've lived long enough to carry layers of experience most people never reach. Sometimes the soul chooses the quietest hour to speak, when the mind wakes you. Keep gentle rituals nearby, a notebook, prayer beads, soft music. Let thoughts flow without judgment. You don't need to solve anything, just witness. When you feel your breathing slow again, let the body return to rest naturally. These wake-ups can be teachers. They remind you that reflection is a form of rest too. If you're still watching and these words are resonating, leave a quick "I'm here" in the comments below. It helps others find this video and reminds them they're not alone in their sleepless hour. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing. It lets us keep sharing gentle, thoughtful reflections like this one. Now let's gather what we've learned. The 3 a.m. hour is not a mistake, it's information. Each reason, the shifting hormones, the early clock, the body's signals, the habits, the restless mind, tells a small part of the same story. Your system is still alive and adaptive. It's still learning how to care for the version of you that exists right now. Instead of asking, "How do I stop this?" try asking, "What is this moment showing me?" Is it telling you to care for your body more gently, to bring light back into your days, to stay connected a little later, eat a little smarter, move a little longer? Or maybe to simply listen to the heart that still needs to speak at 3 a.m.? Every wake-up is an invitation, not to battle, but to notice. And when you notice, change begins quietly from within. As we close, take a moment to breathe and think about what you've heard tonight. Which part spoke to you most deeply? Was it the way your body's internal clock has quietly shifted? The soft chemistry of sleep that changes with time? Or maybe something more tender, the emotions that rise only when the world is still and the dark feels endless? Each of these 5 reasons offers its own window into your life. None of them point to weakness or decline. They show how alive you still are, how your body and mind continue to work together, learning new rhythms even now. Every early wake-up is proof of that partnership still moving, still adapting, still speaking. There's power in seeing the pattern, because once you understand it, you can stop fighting your body and start listening to it. Those quiet 3 a.m. hours aren't punishments, they're invitations, gentle reminders to notice what needs care, what needs softness, what needs space. You're not alone in this. Thousands of others open their eyes to the same hour, feeling the same mixture of wonder and worry, and yet with understanding comes peace, and with peace comes the freedom to shape your nights, not perfectly but intentionally. So if you recognized yourself in these reflections, let that bring comfort, not concern. You're not just growing older, you're becoming deeper, wiser, more attuned to the signals that once went unheard. This season of life isn't the end of vitality, it's the refinement of it. If this video spoke to you, take a moment to share one thing that stayed with you, one small truth you'll carry into your next night. Your reflections mean more than you think. They remind others they're not alone in the dark. Thank you for spending this time with us. If you found something useful or simply soothing here, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us keep creating spaces of calm understanding, where wisdom can meet experience and both can rest. May your next 3 a.m. come not as a disruption, but as a whisper, a reminder that you're still listening, still learning, still beautifully awake to life itself.